Hello friends, I welcome you all to Nityananda Physics Accelerated Batch where we are covering MST CET Physics syllabus. This is the fourth lecture on mechanical properties of fluid. Today we will be covering the topic surface tension and surface energy. Now this surface tension is very interesting topic. We have seen many times the small insect, they walk on the surface of water. And even there are some lizards, those who can walk on the surface of water. Now how they can walk on the surface of water, that can be explained with the help of surface tension. Now, as such, we may feel that walking over insect on the water, it may not be something very different kind of thing other than just like we are having boats which are floating on the water. But the principles are completely different. When we see insects walking on the water, they are not actually getting submerged there, and the principle used in both the places are different. We will be seeing the difference as such. You all may be knowing what is Archimedes principle, how the upthrust force work. And that upthrust force principle is applicable when we are seeing the boats which are floating in water in the oceans. But when we are seeing the small insect, they actually work on the principle of surface tension. Now let's see what is that surface tension. Okay, now there we have to understand the surface tension with the help of molecular theory of surface tension. Before that, I'll just clarify some things. This tension word, now as soon as we hear the surface tension, now the tension word is coming here. Now it looks like it is some kind of a force because we have some understanding when we had many examples where we had a bob or a stone which is tied to a thread or a string, and then there is a force, like there is a pendulum which is tied and massless string is there. Now this pendulum is having mass force mg. Mass is m and gravitational force is acceleration is there, that's why it's acting with a force mg downward. And then to balance it, because it's suspended now, it's not going down and it's not going up also. Now in that case there has to be another force. Now we had equated this with there is a mg downward force and up there is a tension force. Now there we understood that tension is a force. Now when we are studying the surface tension, one thing has to be clear, that this tension is not force. This tension is not force. Although the term tension is being used, is for another purpose which is being used here. So this is the first thing. Never get confused with the tension term with the force for this topic when it comes to surface tension. Okay, now we'll just understand what is surface tension. Here now when we are seeing we have seen many principles. We have even said that the drops, whenever we see drops are always spherical. Why they are spherical? Because they want to reduce their surface area. Now from why what is the reason for which they want to reduce their surface area? That again will be solved with the example of surface tension and surface energy. There the liquid molecules or any fluid is having the tendency to reduce its area. And that principle, now what is happening there? The surface is always trying to contract. Now there is kind of a stress. Stress means in the sense that is kind of if we are having a polythene bag and we are stressing it from all the direction, then we can even you can just imagine I am having some polythene bag or I am just having some cloth paper or something. Okay, I am not having anything nearby. I will just get something. I just got one handkerchief to make it understand that concept. See, now I am having a handkerchief. It's just like a very free handkerchief. I just want to have a pen drive above it. It will not stay there. It is like going down now. It's going down. But it can be up. Now you are seeing this pen drive. If I am just stretching it, if I stretch it from both the direction, now there is a tension in the figure. If I just say there is a kind of a stretch, I am just stretching this handkerchief, and that's why on the surface of this handkerchief the pen drive can actually walk. It's not walking, but it can sustain, it can float there. The same principle we will be seeing when we will be seeing the surface tension. The same here, how I am stretching, how I had stretched the handkerchief, the same principle will be there with the water surface. Water surface is always acts like it's like a stretch. There is some kind of a film above, and that film is actually being stretched from all the sides. And because of that stress, inside with those who are having very small weight, they can walk over it. Obviously not only the weight, even they need to be hydrophobic. This is another topic because they need to even repel that water. But as such, the principle is that because it's kind of already stretched from all the side, it can now sustain some weight. Some weight can be sustained. And that kind of stretching is called as surface tension. Now, it's not exactly equal to tension. The unit will not be equal to Newton. it will be something different that we'll be seeing maybe in few minutes. Okay, now the molecule theory, now we just understood what is happening there. There is some kind of stretch which is happening. The liquid is always kind of stretch which is having some kind of ability by which is getting some kind of elasticity in that, and because of which it can sustain some kind of pressure, some kind of a force above that surface. That we'll just understand now with the help of molecular force of attraction. Now for understanding surface tension, we need to understand some terms. The first term which we need to understand is intermolecular force of attraction. Now any molecules, when we say two molecules, they are always having some kind of force of attraction. Now force of attraction between two molecules is called as intermolecular force of attraction. Now intra means actually within the molecule, and when there are two molecules, that is called as intermolecular force of attraction. Now there are molecules also can be of two types. The molecules can be of the same material in which it is, or it may be like two different materials are there, and obviously because there are two different materials, both of them will be having different kinds of molecules, and they will also have some kind of force of attraction. And according to that two types, there these two names are being given. The first name is cohesive force. This is a force of attraction between the molecules of same substance. When the substance is same, if just we are having water and water, there is one H2O molecule, another H2O is there, and amongst them whatever is the force of attraction, that will be called as cohesive force. Any air molecules which are having the same substance, any two like even now these kind of forces are there for every. Now this is not connected only to the fluid, it's not limited to fluids, it can be there. Fluids are only basic, only means liquids and the gases. Now this cohesive force will be applicable to solids, liquid and gases for all three. Obviously it will be more strong. Now this is the force of attraction between the same substance, within the same material. When I am saying the solid will be having a more stronger cohesive force, and that's the reason because of which solids are having proper shape. You cannot deform this so easily because they are tightly bound with each other. All the molecules are bounded very nicely. When it comes to liquids are not having shape, but still you can see them flowing. It's like their boundary can be established. Their cohesive force is little weaker than the solid, but it is still stronger than the gases, and gases are having the least high magnitude for this cohesive force. Now here we just need to remember cohesive means same substance, and the next thing comes adhesive force. This is the force of attraction between different. Okay. Anyways, here adhesive means different substance. Whenever there is a force of attraction between different molecules, the molecules are obviously molecules will be different, but here the two different substances, like we are having the boundary, there is a glass here and the water. We are having a water in a glass, and whatever will be the force of attraction at this boundary, which is the boundary of glass and the water, they are the force of adhesion. There will be adhesive force which will be acting at that particular stage. So any solid liquid boundary, liquid gases boundary, whenever there are two substances, the attraction, still there is force of attraction, but that force of attraction will be called as adhesives. And that's why adhesive is like very common thing which we see every day. Cohesive force is there when we are seeing within the one substance, adhesive force within different substances. Now when we see every day, if you just keep your mobile outside for one complete day, you will see there are so many dust particles which are sticking to that mobile. And even if you just keep that mobile in this way, like instead of you may say that the dust particle is on the surface because of the gravitation, but even if you make it like this vertical, still the particles will not fall down. Why? Because they are sticking to the another substance. There is a force of attraction. The dust particles are different substance, glass is a different substance, but they are still sticking to each other. So that is adhesive force. Even anyone wants to write on a marker with a marker pen on a whiteboard. Now, even now you all are making, you all may be making a notes now. So you are writing with a pen and a paper, and now pen is having a ink. Ink is a different substance, paper is a different substance, and they are also having some kind of force of attraction because of which you are able to write on that paper. Now these all forces are called as adhesive forces. We will be studying about cohesive force and adhesive force in much details in the later part of this chapter. But for now, for surface tension, we need to know intermolecular force of attraction between same substance. That will be cohesive force. Now this cohesive force will be responsible for surface tension in liquid. Okay, now we'll go ahead. So just remember cohesive force for this lecture. Now we need to know about 2-3 more terms which will be helpful to understand the principle of surface tension. The first thing is range of molecular force. Now molecular force means this is intermolecular force of attraction, which we have seen. Cohesive force, will be talking more about cohesive force. Now what is the range of this force? The maximum distance for a molecule up to which the molecular force is effective. Now if you are having a molecule here, it can attract some molecules. It will have that force, but it will be having some range. It cannot have infinite. Like if you are keeping one molecule here, some water drops are here and there is another water drops I am keeping in another far distance, they will not get attracted to each other because the distance is very large. There has to be actually this force of attraction, the limit, the range which they are having is in nanometers. It's very small distance, it's not very huge. The range of molecular forces is very small. Now that range, if we just consider, the range will be something like there is one molecule, there is another molecule. If there is some kind of range, if this molecule can attract each other, if both the molecules can attract each other, the maximum distance when I can keep them separated and still the attraction is acting, if I just keep it little more here, they will not be able to attract each other because they are out of the range. They are out of the range of attraction. The force is beyond the range, and there the force of attraction will not act. Now this range will be called as range of molecular forces, the maximum distance. Now with the same only, if I just take one molecule and just draw its range in all the direction, 360 degree, all four sides, all directions, then I can make a sphere out of there. This is an imaginary sphere where I am taking this molecule as the center, and radius will be the range of molecular forces, and then I am getting an imaginary sphere that will be called as sphere of influence. This is the sphere. Within this sphere, if any molecule is coming in the contact, that molecule will experience a force of attraction. That's the influence which it is having. Beyond that, it cannot influence anything else. Imaginary sphere with a molecule at a center and radius equal to the range of the molecular forces. Now the third thing comes surface film. Okay, we'll just keep it on one side. Now we have seen for one molecule. Now this is the sphere of influence. If we are having water or any fluid in a container, is filled something like this, and I am considering a molecule here. Now this molecule will have some kind of range for its molecular attraction. Now this range may be something like this. I am not showing it above. Why I am not showing it above? Because above there is force of adhesion, there will not be the force of cohesion. Now this range, if I just take the surface film, the surface layer with a thickness equal to the range of molecular forces. Now this is the thickness, this is the range of molecular force. If I just make another line here, now this layer will be called as surface film. This layer will be called as surface film. And then the free surface of liquid. Now free surface of liquid is what? The free interface is the boundary between the liquid and the solid, or liquid or the gases. Whenever there is a boundary, that surface will be called as free surface of the liquid. Now with this understanding of range, sphere of influence, surface film and the free surface of liquid, we will try to understand why there is surface tension in liquid. Okay, in the diagram there is some fluid which is kept in a container. I have shown three different kinds of molecules. Now it's completely filled with molecules. I have just taken three cases. The first case is a molecule A. Now this molecule A, which is completely inside liquid. Now inside liquid means all the molecules are inside liquid only, but now this molecule is completely inside liquid, is below this surface film. Now we know the surface film will be in between X and X dash and Y and Y dash. That's the surface film, which is the film with the thickness equal to range of molecular forces. Now this is beyond the surface film, and now because at this point A, the molecule, whatever force of cohesion is there, whatever the cohesive force will be acting, the force of, what is cohesive force? The force of attraction between same material. Now within this fluid there are many other molecules and they will be also attracting this molecule, but now the attraction will be what? Here will be one molecule, here another. There are different molecules which are surrounding this particular molecule from all these sides within this part also, and because all these molecules are surrounding from all these sides, the force of attraction is getting balanced. See, force of attraction is getting balanced because overall force, the net force at this point will be 0. The net force on the particle A is 0 because it's getting balanced. But when I see the particle or the molecule at point B, it's having a force, the maximum force will be downward, and there is some force which is upward too. But obviously the force which is upward is less than the force which is downward. Now because of that, this particle will be getting some pull which is downward. The net force which is acting, now the overall force is what, the force of cohesion will be more in the downward direction, more force of cohesion, the cohesive force will be more downward, and the upward there is actually both the forces. Upward for this part there is a cohesive force, and above that there is even adhesive force, which is the force between the these liquid molecules and the air. But the air is not that dense, and the force of attraction, the adhesive force, is also weak, and because of which the overall, if we just take the resultant force here, that will be downward. Here the force will be downward. And more than that, if I just consider a molecule which is on the surface, when I am taking it on the surface, then half of the sphere of influence is actually empty, because it is only having here the adhesive force, and which is very weak because air is not that dense. And then the maximum force which is there, the force of attraction, the force of cohesion which is acting on it, which is downward, and that's why it will be experiencing the most downward force. The magnitude of downward force will be more at this point C. Now what is going to happen because of that? Now this point is completely stable, because the forces are completely stable, it is in equilibrium, it's not going to move, not going to change its position. Now at any point, any molecules which are in the range, which are in the range of surface film. Now this film I am just taking between the two marks are there, x dash y dash. Within that limit, any molecule which is there is experiencing some kind of pull downward. Now what is happening? There are many molecules. I will just make a surface here. On the surface there are many molecules. They all are crowded here. This is a surface which is crowded with all the water molecules and all these forces. Now the surface molecules are getting lots of attraction downward. They are experiencing lots of downward pull because of the cohesive force, and many of these they all are experiencing some kind of force downward, and because of this downward or the inward pull, some of them will be dragged down. So in the next state what we will be seeing, there are some molecules which are still there on the surface, and many will be down now from their initial position. And because of this situation, as the molecules are getting down, there is kind of a stretch which is happening on the surface, because if we just, now this is the limit. Now more than that, if we just remove the particle, the surface will not be formed. The surface, whatever we say, the interface between the free surface, the interface between the liquid and the gas or the air and the fluid, that will not be formed. Now this is the case which happens at the final stage, when the liquid is at the stationary level, and then because there are less molecules there, and they all are having force of attraction with each other, they are like kind of bound with each other, and that causes the surface to be like stretched, and this results into surface tension. This results into surface tension. Now all these molecules are like tightly bound to each other. The surface molecules, they are tightly bound, and there is force of attraction. They are kind of stretched. Already they are having some kind of binding. I had taken that handkerchief. Now handkerchief also, there are many molecules. Made up of many molecules. If it is like slack, then you cannot hold anything inside. It can bend down easily. But now when these molecules are kind of stretched, they are having force of attraction with each other. If I am just stretching it, it looks like I am trying to tear it off. There is always a force. I am applying a force there. There is a length. If I just consider a length here on this handkerchief, when I am pulling it, I am applying a force, and because of this force is getting stretched, and that stretch results into surface tension. Now what is the surface tension? Now surface tension, if I just consider now, I'm just showing you the top view of a surface. Now here if I just consider one rod or anything on the surface, if I just consider the handkerchief, I am having a pen on that or a pen on that, and I am stretching it. What is happening? I am having a force which is on these directions, and because of that force there is a tension which is created. That force looks like I am trying to, if I just consider this length, on this length perpendicular to that length I am applying a force, and that force is results into tension, and therefore the force, the surface tension can be taken as, surface tension can be written as force upon length. I am just considering an imaginary length, and on that imaginary length there is a force which is acting, that force will be tangential to the surface. That force will be tangential to the surface, and that force looks like it's trying to tear off the surface because it's already being stretched. It looks like it's tear us off. If I just consider, just imagine, no, I am having a polythene and I am trying to stretch it. When I am stretching it, and in between, if there is some kind of already there is some kind of a cut in between, if I am stretching it more, what is going to happen? Because of that stretch which is tangential to that cut, it's going to open it more, it's going to increase that cut more. But if I am having that force in this direction, it will be actually trying to close that. The force which will be responsible for surface tension will be perpendicular or is tangential to the surface. Now this formula is very important for us. Surface tension is equal to force upon length, and mostly surface tension will be given to us. Now formula which is given in the book is tension is equal to S upon L. Now this is also okay, but I purposefully wrote surface tension because I don't want you to make confused with the surface tension with the tension, which is we used to say when we had a pendulum and many other cases where the bob is tied with a string. Now this is not a force. Here we just understood the formula. The surface tension is equal to force upon length. Now force upon length means what? Its unit will be the Newton per meter. Newton per meter. And if I just consider, its dimension will be, force dimension is L1 m1 t raised to power minus 2. Dimension of length is L1, and therefore its dimension will be L0 m1 t raised to power minus 2. This is the dimension of surface tension. Dimension of surface tension. On this formula there will be many questions which will be asked to us, and mostly the formula they will be asking us force. Force is equal to then tension into length. That's what we have to remember. Now this tension is a scalar quantity. Length, okay, length is actually is a displacement. In that sense, this is a vector quantity. It's not a cross product or a scalar dot product. It's just a scalar is there, scalar quantity, and a vector quantity, and that's why what answer we are getting is a vector. And anyways, this scalar vector is not needed here, but we need to remember this formula. Force is equal to surface tension into the length. Length is actually the whatever is the length where this force is being acted. Now this length is actually effective length, and this part is completely logical part. How to find out effective length? So that we'll just try to know the different lengths what we have to consider. Okay, just consider a surface here. We are having a surface, and on that surface I am keeping a pen or any rod on that. There is some kind of rod here on this surface. Now the length of this rod is a very lightweight rod. Its length is L, and now it is being asked to us how much is the, there is a force which is acting. There is a force which is acting on this rod. There is some kind of force F, and now they are asking us how much is the tension. Now tension will be what here? Force upon length effective. Now here the effective length is what? If I just see this object from this direction, I can see it is like there is a water level here, and is there, that rod is there. Now there are two lengths where there is one length here which is experiencing force, another length is here which is also experiencing force, and the net force is something like on this direction. I am not considering any angle here, that will be the next part. Here tension into length, tension into length. Like that the two forces are acting upward, and there is a force downward which is this weight mg. Now this mg is getting balanced with the force which is upward. Now here the effective length will be what? I have to consider 2 times the length. Therefore for this condition, in this case, the tension will be F upon twice L. That's the case for this example. Now if we are having second case, we are having bucket which is filled with water, and on the surface of that water, on the surface I am just making it surface like this. On the surface of water there I am keeping one rectangular frame. There is one rectangular frame. Now this rectangular frame, there is one side is A, another side is B, and in that case if they ask me how much will be the effective length, we'll just talk about effective length. Length effective will be then 2 times A plus 2 times B. That will be the effective length. Now if it is a complete surface, now here also there is a trick. Now this will be the answer when this is completely a surface, which is a 2-dimensional surface and is kind of a part of a surface. There is some kind of a disc or something like that. Then the length will be 2A plus 2B. But instead of that, if I am just having a rectangle, again AB, now in that case if it is completely hollow in between, there is, now here in this case the water is here also and in between also. In that case the effective length will be, in the second case, the effective length will be, now A will be twice A, here also twice A, it will be twice of twice A plus twice B. That's why we have to, all the question, by seeing the question we have to find out how much will be the effective length. If there is a, instead of this, if we are having square, then it will become 2A in the first case, 4A. Okay, just imagine now third question. We are having water. On the surface of the water there is a square surface. Now this square surface is there. Now how much will be the length which is affecting here? The effective length will be 4 times A. All 4 sides are having. Now what is that effective length? Wherever the area where the water is in contact, the area where water is in contact, that length we have to consider. Now this is the length. I just mark it here, ABCD. A, B, C, D. Now the length AB, BC, CD and DA, these 4 lengths are in contact with liquid, and that's why I have to consider it like effective length will be then 4A. Okay. If I am having a square frame now, again if it is a square frame, then the effective length will be 8 times A. Like that you have to find out if I am having a disc. There is a disc, circular disc is there. When there is a disc, then again I have to find out circumference which is coming, the length of the disc which is coming in contact with water surface. Therefore the effective length will be 2 pi r, where r is the radius of the disc. And if I am having a circular ring here, if it is a ring, then effective length will be 4 pi r. Inside and outside, here now I have to consider length which is inside and the outside. Whenever I am having a hollow surface inside, it's a hollow surface, then I have to consider inside and the outside length. Here also water is inside and the outside. Therefore surface, the length which I am considering is inside and the outside. By using this we can find out, if tension is given we can find out force, and if force is already given to us, then we can find out surface tension. Okay, now there is another topic which comes now, surface energy. you have seen in our explanation of surface tension that the molecules, those who are on the surface of water or on the surface of a liquid, they are always experiencing a force which is downward. Now if you want to increase the surface area of a surface, then I need to exert some kind of energy. I need to have some kind of work need to be done to get a molecule from down to up. And because now this molecule is coming up, there is some kind of energy which need to be spent, and that is called the surface energy. Whenever I am increasing the area, the surface energy is increasing, and more work has to be done to increase the area. And then whenever I am reducing the area, that time the energy is being released. Now just consider, I am just making a frame here. There is a frame P, Q, R, S. Now this frame is dipped inside a soap solution, and when the soap solution it is being dipped, there is a thin film of a soap solution. Now this part RQ is able to move. Now I can shift this part, is a movable part. I can move in this direction. I can shift it in this direction. Then for shifting it I need to apply some kind of force. If I just see the initial case, when the surface film is being created on this length L. Now if this RQ is having the length L, if the length of this part is L, if this is L, then the tension, and the surface film having some tension, then tension is equal to here force upon effective length. Force upon effective length. And in that sense we can find out force is equal to tension into length effective. Now in this case, this surface is not the surface of soap. It's just a very small film, and whenever there is a film, it's open to both the, it's open in both the sides. Because it's open to both the sides, the length I have to consider twice. Now the first surface, now here there are two surfaces, one is from above, another one from down, and both the surfaces will exert force on this small length RQ, and they are trying to pull this surface away, because the surface of a liquid is having tendency to reduce its area because of surface tension, and there is a force which is trying to pull it. Now the force will try to pull the RQ to the side, to the another side PR, and in that case the force by which it will be exerted, that will be tension into effective length. Here effective length will be twice L, as I am considering two surfaces which are acting. The first L length will be acted with the surface which is above, and another L length is acting on the surface which is from below. Now if I want to increase the surface, now I know that if I want to increase the surface, then I need to do some work. And now what I am doing, I am just applying a force here, a very small force F dash. Now this F dash is nearly equal to F. It's a very small force, and gradually, because it's little more than the F, this side RQ is shifting to the another position here. It can shift to this position now. After some time I am making it into Q dash, R dash. Now if I just stretch it to that position, now the area is increasing. Now the shift which is happening, I just consider it like dx. A small shift is happening, a small dx. Now the work done is equal to force, whatever the force I have applied F dash, into small dx, whatever the length I have just increased, force into displacement, that is our work done. Now the force applied is F dash, and F dash is nearly equal to F. That's why I can just replace it. The work done is equal to then T into 2L into dx. Now L into dx is the change in area. Initially area was whatever is the surface, then this much area is actually increased. This much area is been increased. So this whole thing can be written as dW can be written as T into dA, change in surface area. This is another formula which we have to remember. Tension can be written as dW upon dA, or it can be written as dE upon dA. Change in energy per unit area, or change in area, change in energy per unit change in area, or work done per unit change in area. That's how we can get another formula for tension. And mostly we have been asked about work done, tension into change in area. This is the one formula which we need to remember. And second is, if they are asking change in energy is equal to tension into change in area. Again, now here whatever the area we are taking is an effective area which we need to understand. This will be effective. Now it will depend in what situation they are giving us to find out the effective area. We'll just consider some of the examples for this. Okay, we'll just see some examples where we'll find out how to find out this effective area, the change in effective area. We have the formula work done is equal to tension into change in area, effective area, and energy release or energy absorbed will be tension into change in area, whatever is the effective area. Now what is this effective area? I am just consider now this example. We are having a soap film. We are having some ring. Initially there was a soap film which is like this, and then we pulled this side AB. AB was pulled to A dash B dash. Now initially the area was this area. This complete surface was the area. Then there are some increase had happened. Now what is the yellow part which is shown, that is the increase in the area. Now in this case the change in area is how much? Delta A. Delta A is equal to 1 into 4. 1 into 4, that is equal to 4. Sorry, that is equal to 4 meter square. I am just considering all the units in meter. Then the change in area, if I am just considering the one side, from the above surface the change in area will be 4 meter square. But now that's not the effective area, because this is the soap film. Soap film is what is having area which is open to one side and the another side also. So there is above surface which is open to the air, and the down surface is also open to the air. And in that case the effective area will be twice of this value. It will be 8 m square. And instead of this kind of a film which is open to both the areas, if I am having a cube, now in this cube there is water which is completely filled. Now this cuboid is having the side 4 into 5. Now here I cannot increase the area by stretching it. I cannot stretch this side of one side of the rectangle here or the cuboid here. But what I can do, I can tilt this side. The water is initially in this position. Now I have tilted this cuboid. Now the water has changed its position. Now when it has changed its position, initially the length here, this length was 5. This length was 5, but now afterwards, after tilting this cuboid, the length had become 6. Now there is some kind of area which had increased. Now this is the change in area. This is the increase in area which had happened. Now in this case, the surface is open only at one side. Is open to the air only at one side, and that's why here the effective area will be delta A effective will be here 1 into 4, that is equal to 4 meter square. You got the you could get this difference, because the first case is open to both the sides, therefore the answer is coming 8 meters cube, and here is open to only one side, that's why the answer is coming 4 meters square. 8 meters square, 4 meters square. Okay. The next part where the questions are being asked is the drop is being converted into droplet. Now what is drop and droplets? Now drop is a big, it's little bit bigger is the drop, and when it is formed into many small droplets. Now what is happening? Initially I am having a big drop. It is getting, the drop is also spherical. Droplets are also spherical. Both of them are having surface tension. But when there is a droplet, it is having lesser surface area. Why it is having lesser surface area? Because many of the molecules are inside. But when the drop is getting deformed into many droplets, that time the surface area is increasing. When the drop is getting converted into droplets, the area is increasing. And whenever the area is increasing, I need to work to take out the particles, the molecules which are inside to the outer surface, and that's why the energy will be absorbed. And the vice versa, when the droplets are combined to form a drop, that time energy is being released because the molecules are coming to a more stable position and the area is getting decreased. Now in this transaction, one thing is not changing, that is the volume. The volume in both the cases will be the same. So therefore we can say that volume of drop is equal to volume of droplets. This is the total volume. Now what is, if I just consider the radius of the drop is r and radius of the droplet is small r, and in that case the total volume will be 4 by 3 pi r cube is equal to n times, if it is formed into n number of droplets, n into 4 by 3 pi r small r cube. Now pi 4 by 3 pi 4 by 3 is going to get cancelled. Therefore r is equal to n cube root of n upon r. This is the relationship which I am getting in terms of small r and the big R, and even I can write it like this: small r is equal to r upon n raised to power 1 by 3. Now this is the relationship which I am getting in terms of radius. But now for surface tension, what is surface tension? If surface tension is equal to work done upon change in area, effective area, or it can be taken as energy absorbed upon change in effective change in area. Now in this case I need to find out area. Now this is a relationship which I got in terms of radius, but I need to know how much is the area which is changing. If I am just the formula will be applicable in the both the cases. I am converting drop into droplet or droplet into drop. Both the ways the area conversion area will be the same. How much is the difference which is happening? If I am converting from drop to droplet, the area is increasing. When I am changing from droplet to drop, the area is getting reduced. Now the change in area delta A effective will be then the area of droplets, the total droplets and their total area n into 4 pi r square. That's the area of droplets, all the droplets, minus initially the area was small, or the area of a drop, 4 pi r square. By finding out this, I can get the value of change in area. Now we know the relationship of r and r dash. I can write it in any terms. Delta A effective is equal to, after solving this, the answer what I get is 4 pi r square in bracket n minus n 2 by 3, or delta A effective can be written as 4 pi r square n 1 by 3 minus 1. This is the formula which I need to remember anytime the question is being asked. Now this question will be useful. The first question which is written in terms of small r. If the question is asked in terms of already the radius of a droplets are given, then the first formula will be applicable. If the area or the radius of the drop is given, then the next formula I need to use. So in that way I can find out the change in effective area, and once the change in effective area is known to me, then I can immediately find out the tension or work done or energy, whatever is there which has been asked to us, we can find it out. Okay, thank you all for joining.